Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again, and I am still sick, so this is technically like a makeup video, because I was supposed to do this like a week ago or whatever. I was also going to do like either I was going to combine it all into one video, or I guess I changed the plan into like me rewriting AHS Season 5, because I did think about, oh wait, why don't you just do this? But I got to admit, I totally forgot. I should have written it down, but I just completely forgot. Getting sick at that time period was just so unexpected, and it was, just sitting there all day long, just like watching random crap and trying to get over it, and still kind of the same routine like that. So I forgot. But the gist of it is, I'm talking about AHS Hotel still. The gist of it is, though, is that, as I said, the season was not, it was too mainstream, it was not small scale, and I really feel like out of all the season's ideas, this season should have been the one where they scaled back, and they said, and they put it in like a small hotel, a grimy, gringy, rundown hotel, a small place, actors who either aren't pretty people or they uglify themselves, Eileen Wuornos, Charlize Theron style. Like, it should not have been this model season where everyone looks like a model, everyone looks like they're on a perfume ad, the ones where they have the little thing in the magazine and you can sniff it if you peel back the sticker. Like, that's what all these people look like, basically. Like, none of them look like real people. I guess they look like quote-unquote real people if you're on TikTok all day long or something. And it really didn't capture the horror of a hotel. I'm thinking about, what are the scariest hotels in real life? Well, obviously, this season was based primarily off of the Cecil Hotel, aka the shitty-ass retitle where they're calling it Stay on the Man, or whatever they decided to call it. That hotel is the primary influence for this season, and honestly, that it's really hard to tell, and that's a problem, because that's the whole essence of the season. I mean, it'd be the same thing if you're making a sequel to a movie and it's nothing like the previous movie. You'd think, there's no essence from that original idea. And to me, there was no essence of the Cecil Hotel that was in this season. I can see, from an analytical standpoint, I can see where they tried to insert little influences. Like, they had that one random story about a random ghost where she made all the water taste gross, and of course that was from the Cecil Hotel. And then they had the thing with the serial killers coming to the hotel on Halloween night. That was also kind of influenced from the Cecil Hotel. But I really couldn't, I didn't feel it. I didn't feel it at all. It didn't feel anything like the Cecil Hotel. And so that's a problem, that they made this. To me, I would say this season was just a big failure. It was a big, huge failure. Going too mainstream, going too much like on the nose, to where the people in the show, it's almost like they're not even playing characters, they're just kind of playing themselves, as characters in like a really meta way. And so if I were to have made this season, let's see, who would I have kept? I would have kept like probably like just 3 or 4 actors from the show and really uglify them down unless it makes sense to the story. Other than that, just hire a bunch of unknowns. Like hire a bunch of people who look like they have never been in a movie before or anything, and just have it be like this creepy, like really off season of American Horror Story. Because the thing is that like every other season feels more natural to real life in terms of the characters, in terms of the story even. And this is the one season that sticks out where it feels really like artificial and fake and really phony and contrived. And I honestly, after having watched this season, finishing it a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, I'm kind of like, my mind is blown about the season in terms of it definitely leaves a bad taste in your mouth. You know, you look back and you think, wow, I don't know why they did that. Like that's the majority of the season for me. It's just, why? Why did they do that? Why did they do that? So many weird creative decisions, and really, really disappointing that it feels like, and again, I don't really know about the seasons after because I haven't seen them yet, except for seasons 10 and 11, but it feels like a show that's definitely going to go downhill fast. Which is what happened. According to people, for the most part, they kind of think, you know, this is like the turning point. You know, the first 4 seasons, they were all pretty solid. Of course, I didn't like season 3 at all. I despise season 3, except for a couple of the characters. I thought that season was a huge misfire. But other than that, like the first 4 seasons were solid, and then you have the 5th one. And the 5th one it almost feels like a new show. A spin-off show, like the tweeny young people millennial spin-off where, you know, it's like, oh look, there's that influencer I watch on Instagram. He's really funny, and I like the videos he makes where he talks about things. Like it doesn't feel like a true horror story anymore. So and as I've said before, I believe I said in the first part of the review, another issue is that there were too many ideas, there were too many conflicting stories. You had the story about ghosts, you know, you had these really interesting kind of stories about these different people who were killed, and it's kind of this scary thing of like, oh, you die and then you're stuck in this location with all these people who also died horribly, and it's like it's kind of like a sad like kind of existence. And then you have the story about the vampires and about Lady Gaga and how everyone wants to have sex with her, and she can just, you know, nobody can resist her, and she just is going to live forever, and she's done everything, and she's just kind of, it seems like she's just really bored, and she's really not happy with her life because of this stupid story with another character that she lost. And so that's another story. Then you have the story of the serial killer, like H.H. Holmes Jr., aka James Patrick March, and he's another ghost. But it to me at the beginning, as I said, I wanted him to be alive. I thought it would have been so fucking cool if somehow he was able to stay alive all those years and he was living inside the hotel secretly, and it could have been such a cool story if that were the case. But no, he's a ghost, and there's all this crap with him. That doesn't really go anywhere interesting. And then there's a story with the Ten Commandments killer, or whatever the fuck. There's a serial killer going around killing people. And it's like, how many stories can you add on top of each other? Just pile and pile and pile on these thick stories. I mean, if you think about it, each of these stories could have been their own seasons. You could have had a whole season devoted to Lady Gaga being a vampire. You could have had a whole season devoted to H.H. Holmes Jr. You didn't have to shove all those ideas into one. But I really think, too, that they did not know what to do with this hotel setting. Like, weirdly enough, they just did not know what to do. They probably thought that a hotel would be a great season theme idea, and they made the intro first. And then as soon as they started writing it, they were like, oh, we don't know what to do. And so they just kind of like threw everything but the kitchen sink. And I think that was a problem. They should have really done more research, do a lot more, and figure out one story and tell that one story really good. And then forget about everything else. And you put that in another season and make that one season good. Because the result was a really big mess. I mean, I wanted to talk more about specific stuff, but I really can't remember what I talked about and didn't talk about, because that was so long ago. In fact, how many days ago was that? It was almost like, wasn't it like 20 days ago or something? 21 days or something? I don't know. So primarily, I am here to rank the characters, or the characters that they have available on tiermaker.com. See, the sad thing is about tiermaker is that you go on here and you search up a list to rank, which I love ranking. It's so much fun. Sometimes, but a lot of the times, like, they will not have all the options that you would want on their lists. And it's like, I don't want to take all the time to make up my own lists, unless it's just like writing things down. Like, I'm thinking about, it was such a bitch to edit that Monk video where I ranked all 125 episodes of Monk, and just getting I had to get 125 pictures, edit all 125 pictures, plus the pictures for the background, which was even more difficult because I had to take pictures with that. It was a bitch. And to think about like making these lists on this website, it's just, I don't have time for that. So the worst character, I have 4 tiers only. That's another thing, is that it really feels like this season's characters were off. They were not very good for the most part. And if most of them, they were just these pretty boy characters. And so I only have 4 tiers. I have Fuck You, that's the worst tier. I have Dumb and Donovan, which I bet you know who's on that on that tier. And then I have Had Good Moments, and I have The Best, even if the story sucked. So there's none of them that had potential, which, all of them had potential. It's just that the season was so trash that so the first character in the Fuck You tier is, he was like this guy, and like, I didn't even know his name. He comes in the hotel, he has sex with the 2 Swedish women, and then they kill him. And they're just doing that as ghosts because they're bored, they don't have anything to do. his character was just really meaningless. Like, he didn't contribute anything in the end. He didn't have any interesting character. He was just a pretty boy to come on screen, have a sex scene, and then get killed. He was not a good character in any way, shape, or form. And keep in mind, too, these are probably some of the worst characters of the series. Like, I see all the time in these AHS ranking lists, too. It gets really embarrassing because people will rank really inconsistently, and they'll put the evil Nazi doctor from season 2 as one of the worst characters. And it's like, but wait a second, we're not judging in terms of like whether we like them or not. We're judging based on how good of a character they are. And like a character like this, I think they put him like higher, even though he doesn't even have a character, but it's just because they find him attractive. So I've noticed that when people rank the characters for this fucking show. Next up is, I don't even know the character's name. She is the ex-wife of Rudolfo Valentino, and she was really boring. And it's sad because it wasn't that like Alexandria Daddario. Like, wasn't that her? Like, because it would have been so nice to see her play a good character on the show. She's an okay actress, I guess, but she was terrible. Her character was terrible. There was nothing to her except for she's wild, she's bisexual, and she's a vampire. Like, she didn't have anything to her as a character. And next up, a character just as trash, but he might even piss me off more. Rudolfo Valentino. I mean, this fucking character. Like, they had the actor who played Dandy in season 4, and they said he was so good, we're going to have him play 2 characters in season 5. Which was a terrible decision. It sticks out like a sore thumb because this character, Rudolfo Valentino, he is so bad. Like, I thought he was a really good actor, but I'm telling you guys, I'm having a hard time saying that now without kind of cringing, because what he does with this character, where he's just this pretty boy with a fake shitty ass accent, and oh god, oh ew, like that whole episode where it's the Countess's backstory, I almost threw up. I was just so like over it. It was so dumb. It was so pointless, meaningless and pointless, and I hated this character. And it pisses me off even more because if they had gotten a different actor, he could have done a better job with the character. Like, they just purposefully cast him twice because they think he's attractive, and so there you go. That's what you get. And it could have been impressive, like, if he had given a good performance, but at the same time, I don't even know if he could have given the terrible story. Like, the story of his character was that he has sex with the women in his life and he's a vampire. Like, that's all his character is. That's not a character. As I've said before, and I'll say it again, who you have sex with, that isn't a part of a character trait. You know, who you have sex with, that's not a character trait. You know, you're not a character because you have sex with women or you have sex with men. You know, that's not what makes a character. Next up in the fuck you tier, we have the 2 Swedish girls. These characters, oh, I mean, talk about stereotypes, talk about just cringe, like, and more actors, you know, at least they do nudity. I mean, I'll say that, like, at least they take their job seriously, and they did all those sex scenes, cool. But at the same time, they really had no character. They were just these comedic side characters. They could have had so much more to them, but they were just trash. Their whole story was like they get killed in the hotel. At first, I was kind of excited about their characters because they got imprisoned and Kathy Bates was going to drain the blood out of them. And I kind of got excited because I thought maybe them escaping together, maybe that could have been a story as well. But no, they just get killed and they're ghosts. And then they don't know what to do as ghosts. And it's like, I'm going to go to sleep now. That's what I think. It's hard to talk without coughing now. So next up is and we're still in the fuck you tier. I mean, there's a lot of characters in the fuck you tier. There are more characters in the fuck you tier than any other tier on this tier list. That's how bad AHS Hotel is. Next up is Hyperactive Sally, or the drug girl, Crybaby drug girl. Now, as you guys know, Crybaby is a pretty good actress. She did a great job in seasons 3, 4, and 10. But, this character, like, talk about annoying. Talk about a character that you just want to punch in the face. I mean, I swear, Crybaby, she is so good at making you hate her. Like, she just has this face, and it's just so, like, it's just so aggravating to look at for an extended period of time. And in this season, she takes full-on advantage of that. And she's like this, what is she? Is she like a hooker who takes a lot of drugs, and she's just like drugs. She's like this punk rock, like, stereotype trash character. She's like a really bad aesthetic character, which, if you guys don't know, an aesthetic character is when a character is created for their look and their aesthetic so that people can cosplay, and not much thought is really put into their character. This is a primary example. She is a horrible character. She doesn't really do anything interesting throughout the whole season. The only interesting thing that she does is that she saves the Countess and she nurses her back to health. That was pretty cool. It seemed almost like she could have been like a medic type character, with the way that she's just fixing people up. But then they do this really, really, really dumb story where she's bored, she has nothing to do. She really wants the detective guy, and the people at the hotel help her, and they give her a phone, and she starts posting these really cringeworthy posts like, I hate everybody, and then she gets all this online fame and attention, and like, that's what I thought that whole storyline was like. Who the hell thought this was a good idea? Like, this edgy teenage written storyline, like, this was trash. This character, I hated her. I wanted her to jump off a cliff again, because she already did jump out the window, but I wanted her to jump out the window and stop crying and making me look at her face, because, like, she's a good actress. It's just sometimes she's given these characters that are trash, and she really knows how to make them trash because she knows what to do. Like if and sees them, oh, you guys just, I just fucking remember too, this crybaby, she comes in again in the last episode playing her trash character from season 1, if you could even call her a character from season 1. This cringeworthy crybaby psychic character, and she's like at the hotel, and they gotta chase her out, and it's like, like I cannot even convey the levels of cringe that I felt when I saw that character return, and when I saw all these people praising that character, acting like she's some sort of a fan favorite character, when she came into season 1 and she didn't do shit. She was this boring character who just was like, hello, I'm Billie Jean, and I'm a psychic, and here, you do this ritual. Oh, you thought the ritual was real? The ritual isn't real. Bye-bye. That's her character in season 1. Like, is that really a good character? Or are you just saying that she's a good character because you like the actress? Yeah, I know. I know the answer to that one. I don't even need to ask. She would be in the fuck you tier as well. In fact, I probably put her in very, 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 very last place. Like, as soon as I saw that character, and I was like, wait a second, they're gonna spend half the finale of season 5 with a character, a second character, this obscure trash character from season 1? Ugh. Speaking of fuck you, let's just throw Queenie into this list. F you again. I mean, this bitch, Queenie, her character was already one of the worst characters in the series in season 3. She was already a betrayer, a traitor, traitorous biatch, cold-hearted, sociopathic, racist, but then they bring her back in the most stupidest, shoehorned way possible. She comes back and she's supposed to be a smarty pants, but how can she be a smarty pants when she comes to this hotel? Like, she said that she had bad vibes in the hotel room, but she didn't have any bad vibes in the hotel lobby, and then somehow, and it's like, you think about, she searched for this hotel on Google. How did she not find any stories online about this hotel? Like, you think about, let's just look it up. Let's look up Hotel Cecil. Let's look up the Cecil Hotel and pretend like we're Queenie, which hopefully I'm never get to that ever. Cecil Hotel. Let's look it up. Like, guys, it's as soon as I search the hotel, you have the Wikipedia, and right underneath the Wikipedia, there, I mean, right, it's conjoined. They're joined together. It opened a day after my birthday, by the way, which was pretty scary. They have a Wikipedia. It's called List of Deaths and Violence at the Cecil Hotel. Wow. Let's just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 deaths at the Cecil Hotel. 18! And you're going to tell me that Queenie looks up on Google Cecil Hotel, or as in the show, Hotel Cortez, and she and she doesn't see anything about what happened at this hotel. Then you go down below it. What happened in the hotel? At least 16 people are considered to have died in the hotel, among them murder victims, suicides, and mysterious deaths. Like, Queenie, are you really that dumb? Like, like she's like, I'm getting weird vibes at this hotel. It's like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Like, I'm glad that you finally figured that out after coming all the way here, checking in, and pretending like you're gonna stay. Like, it's mind blowing how people could consider this awful character a fan favorite character. I mean, what a joke. And so it is pretty satisfying though, finally seeing her character get killed, because I expected for her to get killed in season 3. I mean, if she had betrayed me, and if I was in charge of a coven, I would have gotten her as soon as she tried to come back. Like, sorry, but she's a traitor, and traitors should get what they deserve. And in this case, it was satisfying to see that happen, but still, what a stupid idea. Like, she comes to this hotel to stay. She has no idea until she gets there and she's experiencing quote-unquote bad vibes. I mean, what a pathetic joke. So, really sad though, because she is a good actress, and if only they had just written her character to not be a complete embarrassment. Like, isn't that kind of sad? Like, would you guys be insulted if you got the script and you read that you go to this hotel and you don't know anything about it, even though it's like the most infamously evil hotel in history, and it's like, yeah, don't insult my intelligence, please, writers. Don't do that. Or I'll just write something better anyway. The next character is the Ten Commandments killer, the detective. Okay, we have Edward Mordrake from season 4. And of course, he is pretending like he's Christian Bale's Batman in this season. And he is really, really bad. I mean, I will say that I would actually like to see him play Batman now. Like, in terms of the top 5 choices of who I want to play Batman, I think that he is at number 1. So I guess he did do a good job of, like, auditioning to play Batman in this season. But still, wow. This character started off as, like, a really cliche detective character with this cringeworthy Christian Bale voice, and quickly they made him really unlikable. They made you not want to root for him, and he was so bad at acting that you almost wanted to root against him, and you almost wanted him to suffer, and you wanted him to fail. And I really didn't like that, because I really felt like his story could have been the best story of the season. I feel like the idea of going into this evil hotel and you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, that could be really scary as even if you're a detective, anything. So it's really sad that they screwed that up. And of course, the ultimate fuck you was when they made him the Ten Commandments killer. because that was so cliche. It was so expected of like, oh wow, I've never seen this before. The detective is the bad guy. Like, wow, that's really, I never would have guessed that. Like, ugh. You know, like, I really hated that. And finally, at the top of the fuck you category, we have the doctor, the cringeworthy agenda doctor, the wife of the Ten Commandments killer. It's really sad because the actress is really good. She's a very underrated actress. And I really felt bad because I felt like she was misused in this season. And I really wished that she would have been done better in this show. Because I never even realized that she was in season 2. But apparently she was. This character had potential, but they just treated her like a teenage girl. Like, she dressed like a hip, like a wannabe, like teenage, like cool hipster character, where she has like this, what do you call those things? She had this little circular hat on all the time. She always looked like sort of like a painter, like some sort of a teenager on vacation in Italy that likes to post on Instagram all the time. You know, really bad, unlikable character. And she made some of the stupidest decisions in the whole series. Like, right up there with Queenie. First off, she wouldn't believe her daughter when she said that she saw her brother in the hotel. And then she sees the brother, and she never even really tells the daughter that she was right, or comforts her and says, you know, I was wrong to not believe you. It's just like, fuck you. And then she chooses to become a vampire and basically send off her other kid to her mom's house. And really, really strange decisions. And it all culminates in her changing this sick boy into a vampire. And then he changes other kids, and oh god, I hate this season. Oh, this season was bad. Next up, we have the Dumb and Donovan tier. Now, obviously, Donovan, he is, wow. He is the definition of pussy whipped. He is completely just in love with the Countess, and he's just this simp character. I mean, you guys thought that Jimmy simped for Kim in Better Call Kim Season 6. Donovan simps for the Countess to an unimaginable degree. Like, it is almost comedic. And it's all because he has these mommy issues with Kathy Bates. And he has this really stupid line where he says, you guys gave me so much fiber. I was shitting my pants at school every day. And he just had so many, like, laugh out loud bad moments where it's like, am I supposed to laugh at this crap? Like, is this really what you wanted to do with this character? Because I can't take this guy seriously at all. His character is really unlikable, the way that he treats his mom, Kathy Bates. I mean, you can tell that she's probably done some bad things in the past, but it's like this character won't let her move on, and he's just terrible, and he's really, like, stuck. And there was this even funnier part where Angela Bassett's character says, why don't you just go up to the Countess's room and sniff her undergarments, and I will go take care of her. And he literally does that. He goes upstairs and and instead of, being there to take her out, he just goes upstairs and sniffs her undergarments, and it's like, oh god, oh, this character is so fucking stupid. And so I kind of like that, actually. I kind of like the idea of having a character who's just so much a simp that he's really past the point of saving. And they especially had this really, what could have been the potential of an intense, complete episode where he gets almost fatally injured trying to protect the Countess, and they take him down the elevator, and they gotta take him out of the hotel before he can die so that his ghost is not trapped with her. And to me, they could have made that a whole episode. They could have had the elevator just malfunction, and they could have had all these things happen. It could have been scary as hell, because you want his character to get out of the hotel, but no. They just have it happen in like 10 minutes, and there's nothing really intense about it. There's no suspense or anything. And so the next character, the dumb character, is Angela Bassett's character. This is the second time in the series that she's been done dirty. She did a really good job in season 3, despite her character, the story being trash. In season 4, her character was so bad, she was one of the worst characters of the series. Very annoying and whiny and kind of just stupid. This character was dumb because she had the potential to be great. She had this really cool backstory where she used to be a blaxploitation movie actress. Then she became a vampire thanks to the Countess. And then she broke up with the Countess, and the Countess killed her boyfriend and all of his friends. And it was like a horrifying massacre, and it was really dark. And she had the potential to be great, but they ruined her character as well. They did what, and I hate to use this term because I despise the people who created it, but they literally like refrigerated her character. You know that term that they use when, they take a female character and they just kind of shove them off to the side and have them not do anything the whole story. They did that with Angela Bassett's character. She just kind of sits around the whole season, and then they lock her up in the hotel in like that closed off level, and then she gets out, and you think she's gonna kill the Countess, and instead she has sex with her because she's so stupid, and then she's just kind of there, and that's it. Like, her character just, so disappointing. Really, really dumb. Really, really not what I wanted from that character. I mean, she could have been so cool, and I was really looking forward to her having like a blaxploitation revenge type of moment where she could at least kill some vampires or something, shoot some vampires. But instead, no. She just is there. Now, in the had good moments section, I can't remember this guy's name, but he's like the guy who takes over the hotel. He's this rich guy, and they make a big kind of agenda point that he's bisexual, and that he's not gay, he's bisexual. And, it's kind of like a little agenda that they put in there with that, but he actually turns out to be a really good character because they're all kind of warning him that he's just being taken advantage of by the Countess. And he, of course, he doesn't believe anyone, he doesn't care. And then it happens, and as a ghost, he makes this really cool character turn where he becomes really likable, and you root for him, and you want him to find purpose in the afterlife. And so there's this kind of cool mini story where he runs his fashion business even though he's dead and he's quote unquote missing. But he was not a great character. He just had a couple of good moments. James Patrick March is the next character in the had good moments. Evan Peters gave, in my opinion, probably his best performance in the series as this character. He really 100% committed. He was incredible as this character, but unfortunately, they wasted this character. I was so upset that to play the best character that he's ever played, they just have him be this ghost who can't really hurt people very much. He pops up when he wants and then he leaves, and he has a couple of stupid romance stories and just ugh. Like, how many times can we just have people have these stupid romance stories instead of giving them like a good proper story? Like, I'm sick of these romances. It's not a soap opera. It's supposed to be a horror story. So he should have been better. Like, I really hope that they do a full season around him instead of doing another true crime story where you're just twisting around the facts to assist with your agenda. Why don't you just make a show about this fictional character, you know? At the top of the had good moments section is the maid, Miss Evers. This character was a really likable character. They gave her the backstory of, I don't know her name, but the woman from the Changeling movie in real life, the chicken coop murders, the one who, like, this kid pretended to be her son, and then he was still missing, and they never found his body. This character had the potential to be a great character, but unfortunately, she never really amounted to much. Like, the whole season, I guess she's trying to find someone to be with romantically as a ghost. At first, you think it's going to be the detective, but then they kind of just throw that out the window, and so then she has a crush on James Patrick March. She's kind of cool. I mean, she comes on whenever there's like a mess to clean up. She always knows what to do, and she's really cool. And she's a really likable character, and I really was rooting for her. It's just, her story was trash. Like, she just had a couple of good moments. Now, the best, even if the story sucked, first off, you have Tristan, the model played by Dandy from season 4. At first, I really despised this character because he was so one-dimensional. He was so, like, just a complete stereotype, a complete typical, like, they're a vain model. But then he actually has a lot of depth. He has a lot of dimension to his character, and he becomes a full character, and he falls in love with Liz, and I thought that was a really good story. And his character really amounted in what I think is probably the best scene of the whole season, and that is when it's Liz, him, and the Countess, and they're in a room together, and Liz reveals that she has been having an affair with him. And then the Countess, of course, you don't know who she's going to kill. Like, you know that she could possibly kill both of them, one of them. You know, you don't know what she's going to do. And the suspense of not knowing what she's going to do was really, really, like, stomach churning. And it was really the only moment in the whole season where I actually felt horror and I actually felt suspense. And of course, then she kills Tristan. But he delivers probably the best monologue in the whole series, where he basically says, F you, All you do is use people, you're terrible, blah, 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 blah. And then she kills him. And it is just the most badass character death I've seen in the series. Because he gets to say fuck you to her character. And a lot of people in this series, they have these terrible endings where they don't get justice. They don't get to say fuck you. But Tristan, he gets to say fuck you to the Countess. And it is just so satisfying, honestly, after watching how she treats people up to that point. So now we have 3 characters left. I think you know who they are because process of elimination. In third place is the Countess, played by Lady Gaga, who the one surprise about the season was that she's a really good actress. It's just that, like with the other actors who are good, they need a good writer and a good director. And if they don't have those, then there's only so much their good performances can do. They're ultimately kind of trapped by whatever bad story is written for them to perform. And in this case, I really think that she was done a disservice. She should have had a much better character who wasn't just there to be kind of like, I don't know, like she is the most meta character of the season, because you can just kind of feel that they wrote the character around her. They didn't write her around the character, Like, even though I really despised the casting when Rihanna was in Bates Motel, that episode is the best episode of the series. And it's all because they did not write the character around her. They wrote her around the character. Like, they could have cast somebody else, but she personally requested to be on the season because she was such a fan. And she did a fantastic job in the second episode, not in the first one. She did a bad job in that one. And it's the same kind of thing with this, where even though she's a really good actress, the Countess character is just really not very strong. She has sex with people, she uses them, and then she throws them away. It's really not much of a character, it's kind of like a 1960s, like, really weak sauce femme fatale, to where, she's, the actress is good, but the character is really not up to her standards. And so they should have made a much better character, making it more so focused around horror. Because I was never really afraid of this character except for in that one scene. She had some really good scenes in the season, but the story overall was terrible with this character. Like, I'm trying to think. There was that first scene where she doesn't talk for like 10 minutes long, and it's just her acting for 10 minutes without talking. To me, that made me almost think like I'd kind of like to see her in a season where she doesn't even talk the whole season, because she was so good without talking that I thought, wow, she could have been a silent movie actress by the job that she did in that whole sequence. And then, of course, she had the good scene with her and Liz, where Liz is being confronted by the jackasses, and then she slices both their throats at once. That was a good scene. She has the scene where she kills Tristan. That was a good scene. And that's it. She doesn't have anything else good in the whole season. Even so though, she is a standout. She, honestly, I kind of want to put her in first place, because she almost kind of saved the season. She, like, if you didn't have her in this season, If you took this character out, this season would be completely abysmal. It would be completely a fuck you, F minus. But because she is in it, she adds about 99% of the value of watching the season. So I will say that. The other two characters in the best tier, you have Kathy Bates. She has a really good story where she starts off and you don't know if she's good or bad, and you're kind of thinking, ooh, she's kind of bad. But then she redeems herself, and she's given like a second chance at life. She's turned into a vampire, and she has this kind of fun, but kind of not serious story about becoming a badass and standing up for herself, and it's just kind of really light, like it's really like goofy and kiddish, but she is really likable as a character. Like, she gave a fantastic performance once again, proving that she definitely is one of the top actors that they ever had in the whole series, and that if she's not in a season, you're gonna miss her being in the season. Whereas, maybe the Swedish actresses, maybe you wouldn't really care if they were in a season or not, because so far they just really didn't do very much. Whereas Kathy Bates, even though she doesn't do what they do, she does a really good job, no matter what character she's given. And the best character, which I think a lot of people have this character as the best character. The best character for me is Liz. This character was a very surprising character because she could have just been an aesthetic character. She could have just been, oh look, it's the cross-dressing character. It's the character that, oh wow, I'm in a cosplay as that character for Halloween or for a convention. But no, she is a fully rounded, fully developed character. She has a really great backstory. She's a really supportive, positive character. And she's really somebody that you can root for. And she's really, really likable. The only thing that was kind of laughable about her character was in the finale when she's like a fashion model for this company. That felt a little bit like a fantasy from Ryan Murphy. It didn't really feel like realistic. Even though she's a really nice character, it really didn't feel like that would ever happen. Just in terms of like her fashion, it wasn't very revolutionary. It wasn't something that was like wow worthy, like they were trying to make it out to be. But this character, she had some really good moments. She was definitely the strongest one, and she was definitely the most likable overall. So, anyways, now I can get started with season 6, which I've heard is really good or really bad. It's kind of mixed. I hope it's really good. So please like this video, comment, tell me what you think about how I ranked the characters, and then please subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more honest videos about American Horror Story. Goodbye, everybody. See you.